Good evening and welcome to the Poets Cafe. It is where artists come alive. The spoken word brings forth the inner creation of hidden treasures, expressing tones of lyrics felt within the soul, a vibration that rings stories untold. This platform represents artists of all backgrounds, be it writers, singers, spoken word, artistic expressions and painting, literature, poetry, and a journey through life. Mystery seeks to bring new ideas and opportunities through the mind at all levels. Wherefore my time leaving tomorrow on the wings of yesterday, where birds fly higher than the mystery of dreams never knew. Why do mellow sounds ring silently without ever leaving memories of my lonely blues? We walk by the calls of nature, sing in harmony, pray for the love of the skies, and dance with the stars like a feminine ballerina gazing across the stage in her soft-toed ballerina shoes. Welcome to the Artists of Poetry Cafe show, Poetically Speaking, hosted by Terry Benjamin and Ron C. McCrae. As delighted as we are, we can't wait to engulf a new wave of presenting this platform to our audience. So sit back and enjoy. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button. Now, let's get started.
Let's get started. This is Poetically Speaking, the place for the spoken word with Terry and Ron and you in our community. And before we get into it, I want to let you know that I was not here the last show because I had to go to a funeral. And a lot of you had commented and asked me what was going on. And some people said, oh, are you sick? No, I'm not sick. I had to go to a funeral. And really had to go because it was my great aunt, Shirley Joyce Benjamin Jenkins. And again, man, she was the sweetest, you know. She was like my second mother to me, and so I had to be there. But I want to share with you, this is from the back of the program, and it says celebrate, and this is an unknown writer. It says, weep not for me, though I'm gone into that gentle night. Grieve if you will, but not for long. Upon my soul's sweet flight, I am at peace, my soul's at rest. There's no need for tears, for with your love I was so blessed. For all those many years, there's no pain, I suffer not. The fear now is gone. Put now these things out of your thoughts. In your memory I live on. Remember not my fight for breath. Remember not the strife. Please do not dwell upon my death, but celebrate my life. And this was, again, my great aunt. And I share that with you because, again, you know, she passed at 83, and really, you know, she will be missed. But, you know, life goes on, and she would want us to live our life. And that brings us to today's agenda. And the agenda for today is no way but up. And as I think about that, I think about during the time of Katrina, when the levee broke and there was the flooding, and people were in their homes, and the flood, the waters came into their house. I mean, already the basement was flooded, and they couldn't go to the left, they couldn't go to the right. All they can do is go up to the roof. And so I remember pictures of people, seeing people up on the roof waving for help. And then, you know, people would hopefully be rescued. But again, somewhere at that point, no way to go but up. And sometime with us, you know, we don't want to go back to what we did before. We want to do it rise. And, you know, because higher is waiting. But again, as we speak to you, we want to give you information. Again, we say this is Poetically Speaking, and the heart of our community is our literature. Quote of the day is from Les Brown, motivational teacher. And Les Brown says, practice makes, no, not perfect. Practice makes improvement, you know, because some people, I mean, I don't know any perfect people on this particular level of living. And so again, practice makes improvement, and so we improve every day. And again, we, as always, we bring you special topics, special people, because again, we do this for our community, which is you and your friends and your family. And as always, we begin our program with Ron's poetry. And Ron, because this is such a special day, I know you have something special for us.
Oh, absolutely. One of the things, before I get started, I'd like to say this because in church, one of the quotes that's often used and it's so profound and it ties into the quote of the day, going higher, rising higher. And in this case, it talks about getting better, stronger, going forward, rising higher. And this is one of the things we try to promote and instilled in you, but we look for you to continue to encourage us. Because again, it's not about going backwards, it's about rising higher.
That's right.
No matter how you look at it. Life doesn't go backwards, it moves forward.
That's right.
So which train are you on, moving backwards or moving forward? So here I have something here. And I like to really, it's kind of hard not to read the whole thing. But nevertheless, let me read this, because this is important. Matter of fact, as you indicated, we got a special guest today, and it's going to be so profound. Believe me, most of y'all might go days in awesome place because he's so attuned to the wisdom and knowledge that we're going to bestow upon you this day.
That's right.
So let me read this. And matter of fact, I'd like to get right into it, if I may. This is in reference to a pastor, teacher of the word. And before I get started, as we always say, that we try to recognize all our guests. It's not about the title and position, but it's a family. So we identify the brothers and sisters. But today, and I'm be honest with you, it's really the extinguished title that we will recognize this person, our guest today, because this person, our guest, has earned that. Because once you listen to the story and the background, you will say yes, yes, and that's what makes a difference. So I'll read this now, and then later we'll come back, and then you'll understand who, why, when, where, and how all this ties in together. As a matter of fact, I'm reading this without even identifying the name at this point.
Mystery guest.
Pastor, teacher of the word. A shepherd of the word guides a flock of God's children along the path they should follow, leading no stone unturned, lost, hidden, or forgotten. He serves as a shepherd through his words, the word that manifests within everyone seeking to learn and understand the living word of God. Is presented in all of us, nurturing only the best of what God provides. Like a professional chef mastering the delicate flavors of every organic herbs and spices drawn from the soul of the Bible. It ensures that none are blemished, overlooked, forgotten, tainted, or destroyed by those who seek to rob others of their right to the tree of life. A well-rounded shape molded by his father's finest teaching that instilled in him words deeply rooted from a young age, words that his father believed without a shadow of a doubt will guide his son to become a doctor. Boy, you're going to be a doctor. Those words could not be more fitting than the living proof described today. I'd like to stop there because I just want to give you just a little bit to get started. But I want you to, like, you know what? We got to get something to drink, something to eat. We sitting on the edge of our chair. So again, you will not be disappointed.
And it's interesting because, again, we want to give our guests as much time as possible, but we also want to give you some of the things that you are used to getting from us. And I want to just go into the Mind, Body, and Books segment of our program. And again, where we bring to you books that are usually from our own personal library, but books you maybe should be reading. And this book here is The Wealth That Money Can't Buy, The 8 Hidden Habits to Live Your Richest Life. And this is by a gentleman named Robin Shermer. And what he does, he breaks it down. He says these are the 8 habits of the wealth that money can't buy. And he says here the first form of wealth is growth, the daily self-improvement habit. The second form of wealth is wellness, the steadily optimize your health habit. The third form of wealth is family, the happy family, happy life habit. The sixth form of wealth is community, the you become your social network habit. The seventh form of wealth is adventure, the joy comes from exploring, not possessing habit. And number 8 form of wealth is service, the life is short, so be very helpful habit. Okay, so you look at these habits, and again, these are the things that money can't buy, because in the final analysis, we know that there is more for us to learn, more for us to be. This weekend, Tyler Perry released his latest book on Netflix. Now, understand he has a contract with Netflix that he does movies, and they put him out on Netflix. This weekend, he presented his film called Straw, which starred Taraji B. Henson, and people are saying this is his best work. But again, here is a gentleman who is, I guess, the master of his field. And he did a book he wrote called Tyler Perry, Horror is Waiting. Okay, Horror is Waiting. And it says here from the introduction, ever since I was a little boy, I know there was something greater than myself, something bigger, something stronger, something higher. This holy force was protecting me, loving me, and keeping me close. It was helping me live through physical pain and emotional heartache, and guiding me to envision and believe in extraordinary possibilities to fight the challenges I face in my life. It was revealing insight into connection of all souls. It was pointing to the generosity and beauty of nature's gifts. It was offering unyielding hope. It gave me faith so strong that nothing, not human being or horrendous event, could destroy it. This inner knowledge and strength were as real to me when I was a child as my own breath. And our guest today, he began as a child. He began with a thought, with an idea. And he became extraordinary, as Ron is going to present our guest.
You know, there is no words to describe, and I say that in all sincerity because the accolades, the platform, the stardom, the glitter, the stars that shines upon our guest today. I am a personal witness, okay? And what's important is for each and every person who witnessed something has a testimony. So here today, and as long as we've been on this podcast, I always try to give from my perspective, from our perspective, our testimony based on being a witness, what we have learned, read, seen, and our guests we have on this show.
That's right.
We try to be open. We try to have an art of conversation. And that's what's important because, again, it's not about the gloom and the bloom and whatever. It's about how do we help one another.
That's right.
Today, our guest, and matter of fact, honestly, even to read the bio, it's so in depth
Yes.
that sometimes I had to read it several times to make sure it sinks into me.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. It's worth it. And so let me read the bio, if I may. Our guest today, Dr. Thurman E. Evans, MD, PhD. Dr. Thurman Evans is the founder and CEO of Whole Life Association, LLC, and is the pastor of Morning Star Community Christian Center, Incorporated, in Linden, New Jersey. His corporate background experience includes serving as the former vice presidential and corporate medical director of Cigna Corporation, one of the largest healthcare companies in America. Dr. Evans received his BS, Bachelor's in Science, in 1966 from Howard University, his MD credentials in 1971. In 1999, he also earned a PhD in theological studies from the United Christian College in New York City. He has served as a member of the Commission on Continuing Vitality and Cheney University of Pennsylvania, and as a visiting Regent Scholar, lecturer at the University of California at San Diego. He is also a fellow of the Philadelphia College of Physicians. Dr. Evans is the recipient of several honor recognitions and awards, including 3 honorary doctorate degrees from Rush College in Mississippi, Bethune-Cookman College in Florida, and Meharry Medical College in Tennessee. In 2003, he was appointed of the faculty at Howard University College of Medicine. He also received a Distinguished Service Award as the Outstanding Alumnus of the Year for 2003 by Howard University College of Medicine. He has been recognized as several cities with keys and or days named in his honor. Likewise, he was nominated by his alma, al, excuse me, alma mater, Howard University, to receive the year 2000 Distinguished Alumni Citation and Honor bestowed on only 200 of the 1 million graduates of historically black colleges and university. He serves as Assistant Professor, Department of Community and Family Medicine at Howard. In June 2005, Dr. Evans gave the opening prayer for the United States Senate. Further, Dr. Evans is installed as a chief of a village of Signa, and I forget the pronunciation, and he will correct that. Baruka, if I'm not mistaken, Ghana, West Africa. At this time, and as I always say, any error that I made, we're not here, we're not perfect. So I ask that you forgive me if I mispronounce, but nevertheless, it will be corrected. Because what's important is that our distinguished guest today, Dr. Evans, is one that I have been presenting to you on a regular basis. His book, here's the other book, What Are the Leading Causes of Life? A Prescription for Living at Your Highest and Best. That's what's important. That's what we tried to instill. And so as I end there, because it's important to understand, now you not only will hear from me, but you will hear personally from this distinguished gentleman whose words has resonated throughout the world. Now, whether he traveled the world physically, I don't know, but rest assured his words, his service, his sermons, his preaching, his teaching has resonated on the waves of the ocean, traveling with the winds all around the globe. So I guarantee you, and I'll say this correct, I'll say it and I stand corrected. If you ask somebody in China, Russia, wherever, they say, yes, we heard about that. They know him. So that's what's important. So again, we will come and we will we will introduce Dr. Evans, and you will hear directly from him, his words, when we come back.
Yes, and it's so great that we have someone here who I consider a living legend. I consider him a living legend because he's been around for a little while, and but he has brought so much information to us, and it's so funny. Ron talks about Dr. Evans every time we do a program, his book, and I got a chance to get some things from the books, but I also found out that he, taken back to 1994, 1995, when he would do these, I call them booklets, and he calls these prescriptions. These are Dr. T's prescriptions, and he has how to keep people from getting on your last nerve, Dr. T's prescription for coping with stress, how to deal with everyday challenges and difficulties, Dr. T's prescription for enjoying a full life. Don't die pregnant, give birth to your dreams, Dr. T's prescription for achieving your life goals. And so these are gems of wisdom. And Dr. Evans, I just want to, because I want our audience to understand where you're coming from. And I want to look at, you says here, how to deal with everyday challenges and difficulties, and Dr. T's prescription for enjoying a full life. Dr. Evans, how can I enjoy a full life? Because I want to have a full life. What do I need to do? Besides listening to you.
Well, let me first say thank you for having me on. I'm honored to be a guest, yes, and I appreciate the invitation. And I appreciate the opportunity to, talk with yourselves and your listening audience.
Thank you.
And I appreciate all of those who may be listening. I like to come from the perspective when it comes to living a full life. My perspective goes back to the beginning of all things, and that is, where do we get started? How did we get started? How did we get here? How did we come here?
Yes.
Who made us, or did we evolve? And as I reflect on those things, what comes to mind is that I look at nature. I look at nature, and nature is responsible for our lives. Without nature, we don't exist. Without nature, we don't live. Right? And think about this now, because this is important, and we're talking about living a full life. If we go back to the beginning, first there must be a context before there can be a content. You can't have a content without a context. You can't put something in something unless that something that you're putting it in will sustain it. So that nature had to be put in place so that we then could be placed in nature, because it is nature that gives us our life. The sun goes dark, we go dark. Vegetation goes out of existence, we go out of existence. Water goes out of existence, we go out of existence. Atmosphere goes out of existence, or oxygen goes out of existence, we go out of existence. So that nature is responsible for our life. So that means then that the Creator and creation is important to my understanding who I am, how I got here, and my appreciation for life in general. Now, so that my first point is this: everything in nature works. There is not a single thing in nature that does not work. And we need to appreciate this. Everything in nature works. Everything, and I repeat it, everything in nature works. Water works. Termites work. Roses work. Oxygen work. Everything not made by human beings works. And it works perfectly. Now, and here's the real joy in that. We were made to work as well. Because we were made by that same Creator. We were made by that same creation, which means that we were made to work.
I hear you.
And we do work when we work. So that when we start there, when we understand that we work, when we understand that we are a part of nature, we are a part of creation, we are a part of the Creator, we work, because everything in nature works. And it's not by accident. It's on purpose. It's on purpose. It all works, and we are a part of that works. You don't find anything in nature that does not work. Ants work. Trees work.
That's right.
The challenge is there is but one aspect of nature that has been given the gift of free will. One piece of nature has been given the gift of free will, and that's us, human beings. We're the only part of nature that has the gift of free will. We're the only part of nature that can decide, I don't like the plan of the Creator.
Such arrogance.
And that is exactly what it is. We're the only part of nature that can say, and that's why in the human condition, we're the only part of nature that can be ugly. Every other part of nature is absolutely gorgeous. Every other part of nature is absolutely perfect. In fact, we look for and search for parts of nature, and we try to put them in cages so that we can go look at their beauty. We call them zoos or butterfly farms or whatever. So that we as human beings can go and look at and and just glory in their beauty. Look at how magnificent that panther looks. Look at how beautiful that lion or that tiger or that how magnificent that elephant is.
Yes.
Because why? Because they are just busy doing and being what they were created to do and be.
Wow.
They have no pretense. They have no falsity.
That's right.
They are all authentic. They are all sincere. They are all real.
Yes.
And they all fit and follow the plan built into them by the Creator.
Wow.
That's why they're so beautiful. That's why we can walk along the beach
Yes.
and be inspired. That's why we can walk in the forest and be encouraged and inspired, because you're surrounded by life following
Beauty.
the Creator's plan for life.
That's right.
Because everything in creation and nature is busy doing and being full of life. Only in the human condition
Right.
can you be in a situation
Yes, yes.
where there's pretense, and there are people or their feelings or there are attitudes where people may say that they are acting outside of the plan that was created for us to act in. So it all begins with me understanding that I was made by the Creator. I was made to work. I do work if I just stay in that plan. If I know, first I got to find out what that plan is. And if I stay in that plan, I will maximize my existence on earth. And that is the foundation and the plan, by the way, for living a full life. Because if you can find that plan, because therein lies your fullness, if you will. Therein lies your fullness. Therein lies why you are here. Therein lies why God put you here. And let me just say this one other thing before we move to the next point.
Yes.
There is absolutely nothing in existence that was brought in existence just to be seen. Everything in existence has a purpose.
That's right.
That's right.
Everything in existence has a purpose. Nothing exists in nature just to exist. Nothing was created just to be around so you can look at it. Everything has a purpose. And this ought to teach us. This means that if I am here, if you are here, you have a purpose.
That's right.
Your challenge is identify that purpose and pursue it. And therein lies living a full life. And it's it's a simple thing, but it's hard to get people to appreciate the fact that you cannot, in all of the things that exist in nature, there is absolutely nothing that's just hanging around that was just created just to be created. But only in the human condition do we find things that just want to be cute.
It's funny you say that, because again, a lot of people think just because you're alive, that's all you need to be alive. But we know, because of your example, because of your testimony, that we have work to do. And Ron, I'm intrigued by this piece that you started. Obviously, we know who that is right now, and so you got to finish that piece, because now I'm in suspense. But Dr. Evans, thank you so much.
Yes, and to show you how things are aligned and in alignment. And as it was just expressed, and as we talk about on a regular basis about the creation, about being alive, and the health and wellness. So I want to finish this, and I'll start from the beginning, because the title of this, as I had put together, Pastor Teacher of the Word. Dr. Thurman E. Evans, a shepherd of the Word, guides a flock of God's children along the path they should follow, leaving no stone unturned, laws hidden or forgotten. Excuse me. He serves, he serves as a shepherd through his words. The word that manifests within everyone seeking to learn and understand the living word of God's is present in all of us, nurturing only the best of what God provides. Like a professional shepherd, chef, mastering the delicate flavors of every organic herbs and spices drawn from the soil of the Bible. It ensures that none are blemished, overlooked, forgotten, tainted, or destroyed by those who seek to rob others of their right to the tree of life. Dr. Evans had a well-rounded shape molded by his father's finest teaching that instilled in him words deeply rooted from a young age. And I have it right here. It says, when he was 3 or 5 years old. Can you imagine? I forgot where it was at. And let me go. Ordained by authentic hands. I'm sorry. Let me back up. I apologize. Instilled in him words deeply rooted from a young age, words that his father believed without a shadow of a doubt would guide his son to become a doctor. Boy, you are going to be a doctor. Those words could not be more fitting than living proof of described today. Ordained by authentic hands, he has served as a curator of time since the founding of his foundation. God chose him long before he emerged from his mother's wombs. He was selected as a representation of the order Melchizedek. I knew you then. Words cannot convey a deeper truth than knowing, listening, hearing, and learning from a deeply rooted child of God, which nourishes the souls of the earth. One cannot describe such fulfillment in every moment spent crossing the threshold into the marvelous sanctuary of the Morning Star Christian Community Center. Dr. Evans' words resonates with those who seek a truly fulfilling life and strive for righteousness in their best life. What are the main causes of living life to the fullest? Each day we rise and say, thank you, Lord, for another day to absorb your word. Dr. Thurman E. Evans, a shepherd, nourishes those who seek him in every moment, from early morning Sunday school to morning service and through midweek inspiration, reaching all listeners. Deeply rooted in his core belief, Dr. Thurman E. Evans is a scholar, acknowledges in the book of life, leaving a legacy of everlasting remembrance, a prescription for living at your highest and best. And Dr. Thurman, as you just listened to him, as he expressed what he knows, which is true, based on all believers from the Bible, everything God has created works perfectly. Unfortunate, and I'm saying it from my perspective, you see what's out of balance is human nature, our thinking, our conduct. But reading the word, studying the word constantly tells us and reminds us how we can get back in sync. Because it's all about being harmoniously connected with one another. That's right. We represent God. And I am so honored as our guest, not only as a pastor, but to have known to continue to learn his background, who he really is. And I learned that from listening to his word, his teaching. I only say that for myself. Now, it's up to each individual how you listen and what you receive. And I'm quite sure everybody has their own pastor or imam or elder, no matter how you look at it. But the word is the word, no matter how you look at it. It's only one way you can receive it. You can either close the door or open it wide open. But if you open it up, you better be ready for it.
Yeah. Could you hand me that book, please? Because, again, it's a pleasure to read this book, but it's even a greater pleasure to have our brother with us. And the title of the book is What Are the Leading Causes of Life? A Prescription for Living at Your Highest and Your Best. And Dr. Evans, because we have you here, please, how did you come to write this book? What were you thinking about when you sat down to write this? I consider this a classic. What was in your mind when you began to write this book? Yeah. What are the leading causes of life?
What I was thinking was, I got tired of hearing over and over again what the leading causes of death were.
Yes.
And that's the way we are oriented in our society. We learn from a very early age what the leading causes of death are. I mean, young people in middle school, let alone high school and college and graduate school and adults beyond that, can have a good idea, a fairly decent idea about what the leading causes of death are.
Okay.
You know, people automatically, if you ask them what are the leading causes of death, you know, they'll say, everybody knows that heart disease is the number one
That's right.
cause of death.
Yeah,
Everybody knows that. And then they'll mention cancer, and then they'll say suicide and homicide and so forth. Well, and that got me to thinking, well, what about the leading causes of life? I mean, we know we're going to die,
Yeah. Well,
but while we're alive, how come we don't know how to live?
good
And why don't we
question.
focus on what the leading causes of life are? Why don't we learn how to live?
Yes.
And give me the top causes of life so I can prioritize those and get the most out of life while I'm alive.
Yes,
Because
yes.
when I die, that's going to take care of itself.
That's right.
And guess what? When you die, you're going to be dead a long time.
That's right.
You're going to be dead a long time. So while I'm alive, can I at least get the most out of these few minutes that I am alive? And that's the challenge, you see. But we don't spend any time on that. So that started me thinking, well, how can I be helpful in this regard?
Yes.
And as I thought about it and reflected on it and reflected on it and thought about it and reflected on it and thought about it and reflected on it,
Yeah.
there are 4 overarching principles came to me, which I subsequently put down in this book called What Are the Leading Causes of Life? And those 4 overarching principles are, and I try to use them as a guide to my own life, and prayerfully they serve as a guide for others. The first one is this: an understanding that number one, everything God made works. See, I need to know that I work.
Yes.
Right.
I need to know that I work. No matter my size, my color,
Right.
my shape, no matter what other people may be. And other people may be talking about me, putting me down, discriminating against me, stepping on my neck, kicking me in my behind,
Whatever.
kicking me every place else. Everybody, they may be, cheating me,
Whatever.
lying about me, whatever, but I still work,
Yes.
right? Everything God made works. That's the first principle. Second is, everything God made has everything it needs to work,
Wow. Okay.
which means that the human condition, the human body, came here with everything it needed to work and to heal itself. Now, we wouldn't believe it by the way our system looks now,
Yes.
but we are totally messed up now based upon what we have done to our environment and to ourselves.
Yes.
Everything God made works. Everything God made has everything it needs to work. And the third principle is everything God made was made to do work. We were brought here to do work. Remember, I said everything in existence has a purpose. We have a purpose. That's why we're here. We're not here just to be here. Now, as handsome as each of us is,
And we are
we're not
handsome.
here just so other people can
Look
see
at us.
how handsome we are. And that's a good thing. I mean, it's a good thing that we're handsome.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is, we have a purpose,
That's right.
right? Because everything God made was made to do work. There's a work that we have to do. And then the fourth principle is this: everything God made was made to work at its highest and best in relationship with everything else that God made, which means that we achieve our highest and our best, and we get the most out of the human existence and condition through
Yes.
relationship. And if you think about it for a moment, first of all, the human body works through relationship.
Yes.
Secondly, nature works through relationship. Thirdly, our very existence in nature works through relationship. And then fourthly, if you want to look at it from a spiritual perspective, our spiritual walk is all about our relationship with the Creator. And I can talk forever about relationship, and I don't want to take forever with that. But those four principles, if you get a grasp on them and appreciate them, and let them govern your life, your whole perspective on life changes, right? Because number one, if you know that you work, you don't find yourself in a pity party.
Yeah, yes.
You don't find yourself sitting around, why is everything always coming down? And you're singing the Charlie Brown song. Why is everything coming? Sure, and everything may be coming down on you.
That's right. Maybe.
It just may be. Yeah. I'm not saying that it doesn't, but that's neither here nor there. That does not subtract from the fact that you work and that God made you to work. No matter what other human beings are doing to you, you were made to work. And an appreciation of that can help you fend off what else may be coming against you. Yeah. And then the fact that you have in you all that you need for yourself to work. The human condition, the human body, has all it needs to do whatever it needs to do. In fact, the human body is the most amazing pharmacopoeia that we know of. And by that I mean it makes its own medicine. The human body makes its own hormones, makes its own chemicals to heal itself. If we have not destroyed it by years and years and years of chemical and biochemical and physiological use and abuse, taking in all kinds of stuff, we will take better care of what we put into our automobile than we take care of what we put into our bodies.
Isn't that so? Absolutely.
You preach it now.
No, it's foolish to think about putting sand in an automobile gasoline tank. We'd never do that.
No, we never do that.
And yet we put worse than the equivalent of sand in the automobile tank into our bodies. The stuff we put into our bodies is like incredible when it comes to maximizing its function.
Yeah.
And this is why people like Tom Brady playing football at 40 or 45 years old is a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Well, he takes care of his body. LeBron James playing basketball at the highest level at what is he, 41, 42, or 49, whatever he is, he takes care of his body. Right. That's how he can maximize it and play with the young boys. But we all have that potential, but we just want to. We put pleasure over the principle of self-discipline. Oh, wow. And so we ruin the body's ability to function at its highest level. And then the work that we need to do, it's hard to do the work we need to do. It really is, especially when things are stacked against you.
Yes.
And it's easy to chronicle. It's easy to chronicle all the things that are coming against you. Well, I would do better. I could do better. I want to do better. But this. And that list goes on forever. Yes. We all have to confront it. I know I have had and still do. And still do. And you look at today's headlines, today's news. And you got these you said no profanity. Right?
Remember.
You look at these billionaires.
Yes.
Going back and forth,
right?
Talking about making money and cutting taxes for themselves, while people who are poor, they want to cut food stamps and access to food programs. And access to health care.
Yes.
It's enough. It will make you profane in a minute.
Yes.
I mean, just thinking about the concept of it,
right?
The thought of it, it angers me, and that's just a gross example of what's going on right now. But this stuff has been going on for years against our people.
Yeah, it has.
And and nobody has had to deal with terror. In America, like black people have had to deal with terror.
Yeah, please.
Don't talk to me about terrorism, on until you talk to me about what we have had to deal with in America at the hands of white people. I'm saying when I get to going, sometimes it gets to me.
Look, you're telling the truth. You're telling the truth.
So I feel it like anybody else feels it,
Yes.
and yet despite all of that, we still have to move forward. And I say this, and then some of us are beaten down by the system and beaten up by the system, knocked down by the system, and knocked out by the system.
Yeah.
That's happened often, too often, and it even occurs even as we speak. And yet, despite all of that, we were locked. It's amazing to think about this.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a time in America when black people were locked out of everything.
That's right.
Now, we still don't have access like we ought to have, even right now as we speak.
Yes, yes.
But there was a time when we were locked out of things like, I mean, if we just look at entertainment.
Yes, yes.
There was a time when we were completely locked out of things like baseball,
Yes, right. Yeah,
basketball.
yeah.
Now come on now. Imagine that. No black people.
It wouldn't be no basketball.
Come on now.
It wouldn't be.
You're going to tell me that you're going to knock black people out of basketball? See, that's what we can say now looking back.
Right.
But there was a time when
That's
black
right.
people were locked out of professional basketball.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Football,
Yeah.
basketball,
Unbelievable.
baseball,
Yeah.
tennis,
Yeah.
golf.
Oh,
Yeah.
Golf. The guy who ran the Masters golf tournament, he said, who founded it, he said, as long as I live, no black person, and he didn't even say black person, he said, no. Can you say that word?
The N-word. The N-word.
The N-word, can you say that?
Yeah, you can say it.
Okay, well, I don't even feel comfortable saying it. But if I can quote it, he said, no nigga will ever play
Okay.
golf in the Masters.
See that?
And now look at
Here
us,
come Tiger Woods.
right? Right? Tennis, locked completely out of all of that stuff,
That's right.
all of it.
That's right.
And they were just happy as a lark, right? and now look at us.
That's right.
Now, and even though now things are still not fair and square, we're managing to not just play the game, we play it at the highest level.
Right.
Highest level.
We play it at the highest level.
Yes, we do.
Despite all the crap, all the stuff that they bring against us,
It's
right?
just crazy.
And then if we go to other areas of activity, we see the same thing. Corporate CEOs. We're still we're still trying to struggle in and make our way in the Hollywood. Don't even get me started about all that. We've been locked out of everything.
Yeah.
And then when we get mad about it and get upset about it and protest about it, they look at us and say, "What's wrong with you? Why are you an angry black woman? Why are you an angry black man?"
Yes, yes.
And
yes.
these persons have had their feet on our necks forever, just like they did to George Floyd for, what was it, 8-9 seconds, killed him, and then wonder why we run crazy in the streets.
Yeah.
At some point, there's only so much that people can take before they explode.
And you know, just in
yeah.
short, which is so true, and you're right on point. These are the things we talk about all the time.
That's right.
It's the exact same thing when people go to a zoo and look at the animals, they laugh and they get all holly, and then when the animal act out of character, which is acting out of their own natural state, you get mad and think something's wrong with them, and all of a sudden they lose their life. We done the exact same thing. The exact same thing happened to us. I say this all the time. From the moment man stepped on the soil of Africa and shackled you, something you never even felt or even understood, and yet today, mentally, a lot of us still have chains around your neck and fail to realize what freedom is all about. And here's one thing I just want to say in short, my brother.
Yeah.
You know, people talk about King and they talk about Harriet Tubman, but did you ever think about Harriet Tubman when she said, "I'm going to be free"? She didn't think about it, hesitated. Our ancestors that all under condition we can't begin to imagine, even as our guest was expressing. Yet they became writers and poets and inventors and everything else to be free from the pain that you cannot begin to comprehend.
No.
Think about just one welt and they have thousands of whelps on their back. And one whelp represents maybe 1,000 scars of languages and customs and et cetera, just one.
Mm-hmm.
We have pictures. And in this book, this history book, this is just one.
Yes, one book.
Our history is in here and what our guest was expressing.
Yeah.
And I want to say this for me.
Mm-hmm.
When are you going to wake up and realize what is freedom? What are you going to do to be free? And I want to say this one last thing. Jesus said, if you're going to follow me, you must suffer like me. But he was on his way to freedom. And he's free now. Are you free?
Yeah. And Dr. Evans, again, this hour goes so quickly. We're almost done. But before we leave, I just want people to know where they can hear you minister. Where's your church?
Oh, well, 1009 Chandler Avenue in Linden, New Jersey. It's called Morning Star Community Christian Center Church. And all are welcome. And we invite anybody and everybody on any Sunday and every Sunday. Please come. We'd love to have you. 1009 Chandler Avenue in Linden, New Jersey. Morning Star Community Christian Center Church. And God knows we love to have. In fact, we'll give you a special invitation for.
Oh, okay.
This coming Father. We're having a special Brothers' Day. This coming Father's Day.
Okay.
It's going to be big and powerful this coming Father's Day.
Well, you
It's going
heard
to
it
be real special.
You heard it first here, and. Ron, when we do this program, I give my brother the almost impossible task of sort of summing up what we've gone through today. Our topic, our agenda is no way to go but up. And you've risen us higher today. But my brother, can you give us a few words to sort of close us out today?
Yes.
Is that possible?
And it's hard. And
I know
that's always hard.
That's why I let you do it.
But let me say this. As long as we've been doing this podcast since January, and you hear from us, we express the exact same thing. Excuse me. But you heard it directly from the source. An author, a curator, I always express, a pastor with words, those words was instilled in him when he was a child. As I said, at his book, since he was 3 or 5 years old. What's important is that now that you have fell off the edge of your seat, listen to such profound information, what are you going to do? It's time to continue to move forward rather than sit here and moan and groan about what's happening. What are you going to do about your freedom? How are we going to come together if we don't come together? How are you going to pull those parts, all those pieces of parts as one body? And as the pastor said, we was created and born to live at its highest. Everything about the human body was designed to work and heal itself. We always say that. Mm-hmm. And now we have the backup. Right. Because you got it straight from the author himself. Right. So these wasn't just our words, but we was expressing from our experience what our journey is all about. And as we always say, age has nothing to do with it, but it's the wisdom and knowledge that we instill in ourselves to continue to learn. And we try to do that with you. Once again, it is truly a pleasure beyond my comprehension to know that. And matter of fact, let me say this right quick. I had to tiptoe to ask the pastor.
Oh my goodness!
Now
the truth comes out.
But the Spirit moved me to take that opportunity to have. And when he says yes,
hey, why not?
Relieved.
Why not?
But I was shaking. He didn't know it, but it was truly a pleasure, and I truly want to thank you.
Yes,
Believe me. More than anything.
Yeah. But doesn't the Bible say, ask and you will receive?
You receive.
Because if you don't ask, you know what it says? A closed mouth don't get fed.
That's right.
So we
Seeking you shall find.
So we were fed by the brother today. Again, it's been just a pleasure. This has been Poetically Speaking, and we're here Thursdays from 6 to 7 and Sundays from 5 to 6 p.m. And again, our community, our listening and viewing audience, we thank you. We thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to hear what we have to present to you. And again, this has been a special program, but all the programs are special. But they're special because we're going out to find not so much like-minded people, but we're trying to find like-spirited people. And we're actually able to hear someone like that today.
We still got a couple more minutes.
Yeah. Okay. So again, because we have a couple more minutes, and just I guess briefly as you can, Dr. Evans, going from MD to pastor. I mean, how did that happen?
Was that a question?
Yeah.
Could you say that again?
Yeah. Going from MD to pastor, how did that happen?
Oh, okay. My interest, my passion has always been the intersection between medicine and ministry,
Oh, wow.
science and spirituality. Because the human being is strongest spiritually. And so that I've always had an interest in how do I tap into the spirit of the person in order to enhance the science of the person. How do I tap into the ministry of the person in order to tap into the medicine of the person? So that I try to get the most, my concern is the spirit, mind, and body. Not just the spirit and not just the body, but all, we are a tripartite existence. We are spirit, mind, and body. And when we operate from all three, we are at our strongest and most powerful. Unfortunately, too often in medicine, the focus is just on the body, and in church or in ministry, the focus is just on spirit. But we're not just either or. We are both and God is not either or. God is both and. God is both about all of us, spirit, mind, and body. So I've always had this interest of tapping into the spirit, the mind, and the body, and how do we get the most out of the human condition by getting the person to maximize all three in whatever it is they are involved in.
Well, I tell you again, that sums it up. I mean, I don't think we could even, begin to not understand that. Okay, mind, body, and spirit. You got a few minutes?
Yeah. We had 3 minutes, and just want to take a minute.
Countdown.
And again, I'm not even going to try to piggyback or try to come from behind, because everything that was expressed, as I said in the beginning, guarantee you will receive and you will be nourished with what was presented from Dr. Evans as the author, the curator of the word, of his platform. And that's what's important. So we ask you, we leave you with this. Are you going to be curator of your health and wellness and live your life at its highest according to what God has created you to be and do? Because when I go to the park, I look at nature, I listen to nature, I talk to nature, and that in itself is what inspires me. So when I'm filled at church and I listen to the word, when I pray and read the Bible, whatnot, everything comes into sync, no matter how you look at it. So we leave you with this. Live your life at its highest, because everything that God has given us was made to work.
And on that note, we say good night.